Thank you for joining us on Business Incorporated on Channels Television. I'm Chimeze Obi Iwago. On the show today, Tanzania may review 2018 GDP figure after lower World Bank estimate. Moody's says IMF program positive for Congo Republic's lowly credit rating. Plus, Barrick and Acacia reach buyout deal ending long standoff. We'll get the show started with the markets. It's looking like a bright Friday. The major African markets will track here as the numbers were all in the green at intraday. Here in Nigeria, the all-share index was up 0.16% as at midday, while the JSE index in South Africa was 0.88% positive. The Egyptian bourse is closed for the week, but ended Thursday's session 0.21% in the green. Kenya was also up 0.07% on Thursday. And markets in the Middle East are closed for the week, but stocks in the United Arab Emirates surged on Thursday, outperforming most major Gulf markets, boosted by strong earnings at top lenders. In Abu Dhabi, the index closed 2.7% higher, thanks to First Abu Dhabi Bank, which rose to its highest level since May after posting a 5% rise in second quarter net profit. Similarly, the Dubai index climbed 1.7%, driven by a 2.7% rise in Emirates NBD after the bank announced an 80% jump in second quarter earnings. Qatar's index dropped over 1%, with 17 of 20 stocks declining. Saudi Arabia's main index fell 0.46%, ending 8 straight days of gains. And stocks in Asia Pacific markets made strong gains on Friday as comments from a U.S. Federal Reserve official led to rising expectations the central bank could ease monetary policy more than expected. The Nikkei 225 in Japan added 2% to close at 21,466.99, while the Topix index rose 1.94% to finish its trading day at 1,563.96. In mainland China, shares gained on the day, while the Shanghai Composite rose 0.79% to about 2,924.20, while the Shenzhen Composite added 0.751%. Over in Hong Kong, the Hang Seng Index advanced to 1.03% as of its final hour of trading. In South Korea, the Kospi closed 1.35% higher at 2,094.36, as shares of industry heavyweight Samsung Electronics advanced 1.52%. Australia's ASX 200 also rose 0.77% to close at 6,700.30. In the UK, the Office for National Statistics says central government receipts in June 2019 increased by £800 million, or about 1.5%, compared with June 2018 to £58.7 billion, while total central government expenditure increased by £4.3 billion, or about 7.2%, to £64.8 billion. Now, the data about the UK's public finances has prompted the accountancy body with the Institute of Chartered Accountants in England and Wales to express concerns about long-term stability. Well, let's bring in Juliana now from our London studios to tell us more. Hello, Juliana. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Chimmy. Nice to see you today.
Nice to see you too, Juliana. Well, data from the Office for National Statistics shows that the public sector spent more money than it received in taxes and, of course, other income in June this year, meaning it had to borrow about £7.2 billion. That's £3.8 billion more than in June 2018. Why has borrowing gone up?
Well, gosh, these are worrying statistics that are coming out of the UK again today. This data has absolutely smashed a recent Reuters poll of economic predictions, and the city has given a stark warning to the government, which is whoever takes over as the next British Prime Minister must curb public spending. Overall public debt hit £1.8 trillion at the end of June. That's equivalent to 83.1% of GDP. Now, that's a staggering £27 billion higher than last year. What does this mean, Chimmy? It basically means that in the run-up to Brexit, the UK economy is really struggling. We heard yesterday that it's likely, if we do a no-deal Brexit at the end of October, that the UK would plunge into recession. We've spoken about the PMI figures plenty of times on this show, Jimmy, and we've seen that we're struggling in construction, struggling in manufacturing, and also struggling in the service industry. This year, this quarter, the UK economy is basically flatlined. Last quarter, it seemed to have contracted, so this is extremely worrying. Also, the current Chancellor of the Exchequer, Philip Hammond, he has warned both Boris Johnson and Jeremy Hunt, whoever becomes the British Prime Minister, to stop promising to spend and keep a tight lip on the purse. Let's look at those figures now. In currencies, the British pound is down on the US dollar by 0.06%, up on the euro by 0.27%, and up on the Japanese yen by 0.23%. At intraday, the FTSE All-Share is down 0.09%. The FTSE 100 is down by 0.17%. And surprise, surprise, the FTSE 250 is up by 0.07%. Lots of numbers to crunch for you.
All right, in corporate news, PepsiCo is making a push into Africa by buying South Africa's Pioneer Food Group for £1.4 billion. How strategic is this move for this company?
Very strategic, Chimmy. PepsiCo is the American multinational food company that already have their established brands like Walker's Crisps and Pepsi in about 200 countries. They're very interested into branching into sub-Saharan Africa with what they have called African nutritional food staples, which is why they've acquired South Africa Pioneer Foods for $1.7 billion. This is seen as a very good move for the two companies who seem to be aligned. They're not just the kind of companies that want to put in the food, bad food, fatty food on African shelves. They want to really try and establish some sort of nutritional diet. They see that this Pioneer Group is exactly the group that they want to do it in. They also want to expand. We know there are a lot of companies from the US that are interested in expanding into Africa purely because of the size of the market, and there's much more growth enabled in manufacturing. So this is a very good move for investors, and it was a cash buyout. So good news for South Africans who want to see more American products on their shelves. Interesting.
Well, another news out there, Netflix is about to face a big rival as BBC and ITV streaming service BritBox come on board this year. Why is the BBC and ITV doing this, and what will this mean for the entertainment industry in the UK?
Well, quite simply, subscription video on demand is becoming increasingly popular with consumers who want to watch what they want, when they want, and where they want. And now, of course, they're capitalizing on this potential, and the BBC and ITV have signed a deal to launch subscription service BritBox here in the UK before the end of the year. Subscribers have been promised that it will be full of the nation's favorite programs, and a lot of these programs have been very successful overseas. The service will cost about £6 a month in HD and stream across multiple screens and devices. I must say, Chimmy, I don't think Netflix has anything to worry about just yet. The streaming giant recently announced that it had reached 137 million subscribers worldwide. Last year, they added 29 million new members in the UK, which is 33% higher than the 20 million paid subscribers it added in 2017. Now, yesterday, we did hear that Netflix, for the first time, had dropped their subscriber number in the US. And of course, there were some suggestions that they're heavily in debt because they've pushed so much money into making Netflix original series. Now, BBC and ITV have said that they will be making their own documentaries on this new subscription service. So perhaps they'll, listen and look at the figures that Netflix released yesterday and curb cautiously. But Netflix is still the streaming giant, but it's nice to know that there'll be some really nice British flicks that we can watch. You can watch it too when you come to London.
Yeah, I must say they should have something to worry about because lots of competition out there. You never can tell. Anyway, it's been a wonderful week with you, Juliana. Thank you. and enjoy the rest of the weekend.
Thank you, Chime. Thank you.